Hello YouTube family and welcome to my channel. This is Mariam and the case we're gonna talk about today is 103 years old and still unsolved till date. This case is about a 9-year-old boy, Walter Collins. Walter Collins was born on September 23rd, 1918. He was just an ordinary boy living with his mother, Christine Collins, in Lincoln Heights, Los Angeles. On March 10th, 1928, this was like a pretty normal day with good weather, kids playing in the street. Walter came to his mother and asked for money to go watch a movie. Christine gave him a penny. Well, I guess screening was pretty cheap back then. Anyways, Walter immediately rushed to the screening area, which was actually not far away from his home. As time passed by, it was getting dark, and Christine was waiting for her son, looking at the end of the street, anxiously waiting for him to appear with his usual smile. Getting worried, she went to Walter's friend's home to ask about his whereabouts, which unfortunately they didn't know anything about. Christine was now fearing about anything bad that could have happened to Walter. Because few months back, a 12-year-old girl, Mariam Parker, was kidnapped for ransom and then murdered and then even mutilated. That murder was so horrifying that it is still considered as the most horrific murder of the history in Los Angeles. The details on that case are so amazing that we're going to discuss that case as well in the upcoming videos, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, Christine contacted police and police immediately responded, and active and massive search campaigns were conducted like everywhere. But this search remained unfruitful. Now, the reason why police responded so actively to her response was because police department was facing great backlash from public those days due to suspected corruption in the department, and they just wanted to show a good image to the public by finding that boy. Walter's case attracted huge attention from public due to the Mariam Parker case that just happened a few months back. So pressure to solve this case was huge on police department. But then a witness showed up claiming that he saw a boy like Walter near north of San Francisco. He said that he was only able to see the head of the boy in the car because the rest of his body was actually covered in newspaper. He explained that a driver was some foreigner looking man, just like some Italian guy, and he was with a woman. Police unfortunately could not follow up this lead since they were not sure as the boy that person saw was actually Walter and who was that driver guy. I mean, even if that boy was not Walter, that could have been any other kid in trouble, but again, technologies and resources back then were limited, so I think they decided not to take that lead. Now, because at first Christine and police were thinking that this kidnapping was actually the work of one of the Walter's father's enemy. Walter's father, Walter Collins Sr., his father actually had same name as his son, so he was actually in jail at that time for armed robbery. Following up hundreds of reports and leads, Los Angeles Police Department LAPD was still unable to find Walter, and they were facing immense pressure and backlash from public. Now at that time, 5 months later after Walter's disappearance in DeKalb, Illinois, a boy was found who claimed to be Walter. Christine, of course, could not be more delighted, thinking her son has finally returned, and she even paid $70 to bring that boy back to LA. Police arranged a public meetup for mother and son because, of course, they wanted to improve their image in front of public. Now, this is where things get crazy. Meeting the boy, Christine claimed that the boy was not her son. Now, of course, this was a public reunion and police did not want to sort things more. Officer J.J. Jones, who was actually the in charge of that case, forced Christine to take the boy home. He told her that take the boy home for a few weeks and see if the boy is actually your son or not. What? Like, really? They are telling a mother to see if she mistook him to be her son. Well, look at the picture of both boys here. They don't even look that similar to make a fool out of a mother. Like, look at their eyebrows, their lips are different. Walter's face is kind of more flat, and other boys' features are more kind of edgy. I mean, they might look 40 to 60% similar, but not enough to fool a mom. Who can better recognize her son than a mother? They even went ahead to try to prove to her that the boy was actually her son. They said, look, the boy knows his way around the house and the dog is pretty friendly to the boy. I mean, anyone can get to know and remember the way around the house in a few days. And pet dogs, they are usually friendly to everyone that come to the house. These stupid circumstantial evidence could not be the solid proof. But again, DNA technology was not a thing back then which they could use to prove who that boy actually was. 3 weeks passed and Christine went to JJ Johns saying the boy is not my son. JJ Johns actually got angry. He said that Christine was trying to shirk her duty as a mother. He even called her the most cruel-hearted woman he had ever seen and called her a fool. Unbelievable. Like, seriously, I'm speechless right now, you guys. Now, if things were not crazy enough, they went ahead and lodged Christine in a psychiatric ward in LA under Code 12. Now, I couldn't find much on Code 12, but apparently this term is used for someone who is inconvenient and difficult. Now, let's come to the story who this boy was and how he convinced police and JJ Johns to believe that he was Walter Collins. This boy actually confessed to JJ Johns on confrontation after Christine went to psychiatric ward that he was actually Arthur Hutchins, 12-year-old from Iowa. According to Arthur, after his mother passed away, his father remarried to Violet Hutchins. His stepmother, he said, used to mistreat him, locked him up, and tortured him, due to which he decided to run away. When one day he was in a cafe in Illinois, the cafe owner, according to him, told him, "Hey boy, you look exactly like Walter Collins." The boy thought it to be a good opportunity to be in a new family and go to Hollywood to meet Tom Mix, as he was a huge fan of him. Now I kind of understand the feelings of boy and what he was thinking here. He was like being mistreated by his own family and he was hoping to get someone else for love, and he was just 12-year-old boy. I mean, let's not blame him for how he tried to trick anyone. He was just an immature little boy. So Arthur dressed up like Walter and came to LA, and he told police, pretended to be Walter, that the day he went missing, a man came up to him and told him that he's his father and wanted to buy him some clothes, so he just went away with that man. Now, after Arthur's confession, Christine was released from hospital 10 days after that. Christine then filed a complaint against LAPD. Christine actually won this lawsuit against JJ Johns, and Johns had to pay her $10,800 for compensation, which is actually around $160,000 in today's money, which Johns actually never paid. I don't know if this information is legit or not, but it's said that JJ Johns was suspended for putting Christine to psychiatric ward later on. Getting back to the Walters case, on September 20th, 1928, a man named Gordon Stewart Northcott, he was a crazy psycho serial killer. He was arrested and he was suspected to kill 20 young boys. These murders are known as Wine Chicken Coop murders. The case happened during 1926 to 1928, the perfect time Walter disappeared. So police thought, you know what, boy disappeared during the same time frame, and limbs that are found from the chicken coop are not recognizable, so maybe he is the one who killed Walter. Now, the craziest part of Gordon's case was that he himself was not able to determine the number of boys he molested and killed many of them. Gordon's mother was his partner in crime. Now, I don't know if she was actually the part of the crime or she was covering up for him. She, however, confessed to the police that she actually murdered Walter. Police, when raided his chicken coop, they found many limbs buried here and there. God, what kind of a crazy person he was. Tell me in the comments below if you want to know more about his case. Anyways, Christine went ahead to meet Gordon. According to her, Gordon's inconsistent answers about Walter showed that he didn't even met Walter, let alone killed him. Christine said that this has actually given her a hope that her son is actually alive somewhere and she will be able to find him one day. Gordon was listed to be executed on October 2nd, 1930. Few days before his execution, he sent a telegram to Christine and said that he promised to tell her the truth about her son if she came to meet him in person. So Christine went ahead to meet him just hours before his execution. But Gordon refused to meet her, and his answer was, "I don't want to see you. I don't know anything about that. I'm innocent." This ambiguous answer actually gave Christine more hope that she will be able to see her son one day and that he is not dead. She didn't give up that hope for all 36 years she was alive. After that, even until the day she died on December 8th, 1964, Walter has never been found. Now, this is crazy. Why would Gordon call for Christine few days before his execution? Why just her? He had killed other kids too. Why not their mothers as well? And then why he refused to see her once she was there? Why would a dying person lie saying he was innocent? Maybe seeing his end near, he was repenting his crime and at first he wanted to confess to Christine. Or maybe when she arrived, he might have thought that I'm gonna die anyway. Why confessing to a crime which I am not charged with? Maybe he didn't actually kill Walter and he just knew something about him that he wanted to tell her. Maybe Walter was the boy at the gas station covered in those newspapers. Well, we never know. His mother passed away with the hope to see her son one day and she longed for him for 36 years. How sad is that? A movie was also made on the longing of Christine for her son, starring Angelina Jolie. I really hope with modern technologies we have today, we would one day will be able to find what really happened to Walter Collins. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for making this far into the video. Hit the subscribe button and I will see you in my next video.